but
Right.
dabbled in like pop culture and wrote a book called The Physics of Star Trek, and it's one of his biggest selling books.
Wow.
And let's hear our first clip from my interview with him a few
Sounds
weeks ago.
interesting.
This is StarTalk. I'm your host, Neil deGrasse Tyson. And today I'm interviewing Professor Lawrence Krauss. He's at Arizona State University, and he's visiting New York this week as part of a major celebration of science for the World Science Festival. So, Lawrence, welcome to town.
It's great to be here, Neil.
And what's your official title down there in Arizona?
It's kind of long, but I'm the foundation professor in the School of Earth and Space Exploration, the Department of Physics, and the Beyond Center, and the director of the new Origins Initiative at Arizona State.
Now, none of that is why I have you for this interview. I just want you to know that.
Okay, well, that's good.
Our show subject today is Star Trek. Star Trek. And I happen to know, as do many people who are great followers of yours, that you wrote a book called The Physics of Star Trek. First, why the physics of Star Trek and not like the physics of the Beverly Hillbillies or something?
Some people suggest I do the physics of Baywatch, but anyway, the Star Trek has clearly captured people's imaginations, and I must admit, I didn't really appreciate it when I first wrote the book, how deeply ingrained it was in the public's imagination, and I think the reason is that Star Trek's about possibilities. Really, that's the basis of Star Trek, the possibilities of alien civilizations and psychologies, the possibility of getting past our petty, myopic rivalries of the present time.
Wait a minute, isn't any science fiction story about possibilities? So why would Star Trek rise above the rest?
Well, in some sense, but it's a hopeful view of possibilities. It's a view that somehow science and rationality in some way will make the future a better place.
Because a lot of science fiction are dystopic rather than utopic.
Exactly. It's not quite utopic, but it's close. It's not dystopic, first of all. And secondly, I mean, the actual mission of the Enterprise is to find out what's possible in the universe. And it seemed to me, you know, when you go to a party,
the Enterprise is the name of their ship.
Exactly. And as you probably know, if you go to a party and say you're a physicist, people say, how about those Yankees? But if you talk about Star Trek or warp drive or time travel, people get fascinated, and they don't realize in some sense they're fascinated with science. And so what I wanted to do was take something that people are clearly fascinated about and use it as a way to, a portal, if you wish, to learn about the real universe, which is actually more exciting.
So you've written actually many books, some scholarly works and some popular books on the frontier of physics. But is that your biggest selling book, The Physics of Star Trek?
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. And in fact, it's also, for me, more importantly, probably the only book where I've had 7, 8, 9-year-olds come up to me and tell me how much they enjoyed it. And now, 15 years later, have met a number of physicists who said they were 7, 8, 9, and that caused them to be a physicist. And for me, that's the greatest joy.
So you wasted your time writing all those other books.
I like him.
No, he's a good guy.
Lawrence Krauss, he is interesting. I would want to read that book. But you know what? I've always wondered that, and as I was thinking about the show, and he just touched on the question I was going to ask, that what came first, like Star Trek or some of these ideas? Like, do you think that some of these scientists that are developing some of the ideas that are coming from Star Trek things were little kids watching the show,
Yes.
and because it was in their heart?
Yes. In fact, whole generation of people inspired by what was shown on Star Trek became technologists, scientists, and engineers later on and invented these things. And they became dreamers. And if you don't have dreamers today, you don't have inventors tomorrow.
Oh, listen to you being all deep. Hey, riddle me this, astrophysicist. What's dystopic?
Dystopic.
I mean, I know what utopic is.
Utopic is a beautiful future. Dystopic is imagining a really nasty future you don't want to occupy.
Okay, but Star Trek sometimes showed bad things too.
It ends always beautifully.
Oh, okay.
We've got a caller at 1-877-5-StarTalk. We've got Don. Is it Don? Don, are you on the line? Calling from California.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Scott.
Scott. Excuse me.
Great pleasure to talk to you, Dr. Tyson. I've been following you for quite some time and really admire your work.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. My question is, I've been curious about black holes. I understand the basic principle of it. But what is the outside shape? Is it flat? Is it round? Is it cone-shaped? What do we know?
Well, it turns out black holes, which, by the way, you want to avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
What are you looking at me for when you
Black holes played a cameo role in the movie Star Trek, of course. If you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend it just for cultural, if not scientific reasons. Black holes that are not rotating are perfectly spherical. The event horizon, the boundary beyond which you go and never return, has the poetic name Event
And
Horizon.
tell Scott what they are. Because it's
Oh,
cool
black
what
hole,
they
yeah.
are.
It's a region of
It's like
space.
a vacuum, right?
Gravity is so strong you fall in and you never come out, and light doesn't come out, so it's black and it's a hole. We just call it black hole. We call it like it is.
And get this, they rip you apart piece by piece, don't they?
They would if you fell in, yeah.
You told me that. I like that.
I did. You like it?
Well, it's kind of cool because gravity keeps you, right?
Yeah, so gravity at your feet pulls you faster than the gravity at your head in a feet first dive. And as that happens, your body's molecular strength cannot withstand the ripping force of gravity, and you ripped apart atom by atom. And it's called spaghettification, actually.
Spaghettification. Hey.
And so black holes, it's been rumored that black holes connect through wormholes to another part of the universe. In any case, the notion that you can go from one part of the universe to another by invoking a warp drive is something fundamental to what it is to get around the galaxy.
First of all, are there wormholes?
Theoretically, yes, but we've never seen one. And as best as we know, if you tried to create one, they would immediately collapse on themselves.
For people listening, in case you don't have a personal scientist at your side like I do all the time, this is a little clue, just so you know. When they tell you that they don't know, like theoretically, that means it's possible. They won't ever say, if they don't say no.
That's right. That means it's possible. If physics doesn't prevent it, it means it's possible.
It's possible. So
Scott is gone. We've got Don on the line. I think he's got a question about our warp drives. Don?
Yeah, hi.
How you doing?
The one problem that I had with warp drive and warp drive technologies in the shows is they changed it up a little bit, and now you can do ×3 or ×5 for warp drive.
Well, you got a problem with that?
Yeah, well, no. The problem was somebody, I can't remember who did it, but somebody did the mathematics on actually doing warp drive. I think it was the guy you were talking to the last time.
Uh-huh.
And supposedly there's a plateau that you can't go any faster.
Okay, Don, let me ask you a question first. Excuse me, this is Lynn. Are you a Trekkie?
Actually, yes, I am a Trekkie.
Okay, because you're talking warp drive like a diehard Trekkie.
No, I'm not a diehard Trekkie, but I do believe in the science behind a lot of it, and the way people have been thinking and changing the way they perceive things in the universe.
Okay, here's the point, though.
So his question is warp drive.
Okay.
What speed is it?
Don, the point is very simple. The galaxy is, let's say, 100,000 light years across, and it would take you 100,000 years to traverse that at the speed of light. That's longer than the TV commercial.
What's the speed of warp drive, Neil?
Warp factor 1, Lynn, is just the speed of light. So you go warp factor 2, 3, 4, 5, and in principle, as you warp the space between where you are and where your destination is, you can shorten that trip as short as your circumstances require. So I know of no limit to how much you can, Don, I know of no limit to how much you can warp space to travel from one location to the other, according to the laws of physics. Now, there might be some technological
But
constraint.
there isn't really warp drive, is there? I mean, that's made up for the show.
Yes, it's completely made up for the show. Well, he said he was a Trekkie. Don't get on his case
I
now
know,
because
but
he's
you
taking
are
it
too.
seriously.
I like that you're taking it just as seriously. Like, oh, I really don't know if exactly warp drive. Well, all right, Don. The answer then is that warp drive is actually the speed of light.
No, well, warp factor 1.
Warp factor.
Yes, but you have higher warp factors where you can go as fast as you. So I know of no limit, and if there is one, I'll check with Lawrence and I'll get back to you guys on that. We're going to take a break. You're listening to StarTalk.
Hey, Dad.
What?
I can't get the ketchup bottle open.
Here, let me try. Yeah, stuck all right.
Anything?
Now watch. If you take your palm like this and smack it on the bottom right here, you can get it open pretty easily. Here you go.
Thanks.
You don't have to be a hero to be a hero. When you adopt a child from foster care, just being there makes all the difference. To find out how you can adopt, please visit our website at adoptuskids.org or call 1-888-200-4005. A public service announcement brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
The odds of having a boy.
1 in 2.
who grows up loving baseball
1 in 6.
and then makes the varsity team,
1 in 20.
which earns him a college scholarship
1 in 2,500.
that gets him a contract in the minors,
1 in 3,700.
which leads to starting shortstop in the majors.
1 in 290,000.
The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism?
1 in 150. You know the odds. Now learn the signs. Go to autismspeaks.org. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Whether you're a space cadet or a rocket scientist, we want to hear from you. The phone lines are open. Call now. This is StarTalk.
Call now at 1-877-5-StarTalk. If you have an opinion on our show's subject today, Star Trek, the movie, the culture, the phenomenon, the gadgets, Lynn, you dated a Trekkie apparently. This is
I've dated everything. I've dated a Klingon, a Trekkie, Romulan.
I remain fascinated by all the things that were shown in Star Trek and then show up today. For example, I remember when I was a kid and seeing the automatic sliding doors. I said, that'll never happen in centuries.
But it happened.
And we had to sort of crawl before we could walk. The early sliding doors had pressure-sensitive pads, so you'd step on the pad and the door would open. Now it's like electromagnetically triggered. And I
always wave my hand in front of them. Even now I do that.
Why do you do that? Are you afraid your body doesn't?
No, because it's like magical. I like to feel like I did something. They did that in some movie. Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
In fact, I would say we are more advanced than their doors because our doors don't make that swishing sound.
But that swishing sound is cool now.
We oiled our doors.
Like Don, who called about warp drives.
Yeah.
I guarantee you he likes that swishing sound. They like that. And there's more on our website.
Yeah, in fact, for the complete interview of between me and Lawrence Krauss, the author of the Physics of Star Trek, you go to the StarTalk Radio website, startalkradio.net, where you can even send us emails if you'd like. But there wasn't just the sliding doors. There
were other cool things that came out of Star Trek.
Yes, Uhura had that cool earpiece that stuck out of her ear. We got that. These Bluetooth. We got Bluetooth communicate. People walking down the street, otherwise looking like they're talking to themselves. They're actually connected into the airwaves.
I really don't like Bluetooth because I live in New York City and it's already hard to differentiate the freak show that takes place here. And now you see these people talking to themselves, and I can't tell you how many times I've been giving people the widest berth on the sidewalk. Like, what are you doing? And then you see the little blue, and you're like, oh,
there it goes. And not only that, they've had the communicators, right? And these are flip things that made a little sound. We have that's
You're
with cell phones.
Such a Trekkie right now. I was just going to say a communicator. You mean a cell phone?
It's turning me on just thinking about it. The flip cell phones.
And ironically enough, the flip cell phones, the communicators come with a T-shirt that say, "I'm a 40-year-old virgin."
No.
I've never had sex with a lady.
So I'm willing to wager that if Star Trek did not have flip open communicators, that our modern day cell phones would have never done that. I feel that in my bones.
And you know what? I kind of believe that too.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm saying when I was asking you about scientists being influenced by stuff as a kid. And you know that whoever did that was like, wouldn't it be really cool if it was like just like it was when Kirk got to open it on planet Nebulu or whatever the heck it was. And now someone's going to call in. There was no Nebulu. She's an idiot. Dr. Tyson.
All right. So other things like remote location tracking. They would
I love that.
Well, they would find each other.